How's it going, everyone? My name is Maximilian, and you're watching episode 31 of Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3, The Online Warrior. What's up, folks? Thank you very much for tuning in to another episode of Ultimate Marvel 3 The Online Warrior, a show where we discuss the recent ongoings of the community, highlight some online ranked games, get into some matches with players like you, and then break down that pivotal moment that I think is what was key in winning a match. But as you guys noticed with today's episode, we're going to talk about the current ongoings of Marvel before we get into some of these online ranked games. And in the background, you'll notice I'm using Mr. Tony Stark, Iron Man, as point character on my team. I'm just messing around with him right now, so excuse some of the unknowledged play. I'm just trying to use the character right now, but I do have Doom and Strider to help me on the back end in case things do get a little bit rough and Tony gets murdered in the first few seconds, which will happen when you start a newer character. But the thing I wanted to talk about was the recent conclusion of Ultimate Fighting Game Tournament 8, and the results of which that came from it for Ultimate Marvel 3, and the pretty much the results that have been happening lately with the game, especially from East Coast results of Ultimate Marvel 3, and a very dominating playstyle that is kind of has a really huge amount of power over many different strategies in the game. So let's talk about this really quick. The character is Morrigan, and as you guys know, Morrigan was a character that was first suspected to be really bad in Ultimate Marvel 3 because she lost the ability to block while dashing and stuff like that. Her mobility just wasn't great. However, over time it's learned that through certain supers and different uses of assists and tactics, Morrigan is an extremely good character. Which also leads me to another quick topic of discussion where it's kind of unfair to judge a single character in like a game like Marvel. You pretty much have to judge a team, and certain teams work better, whether it's the combination of one or two or all three characters. Those teams can be ridiculously top tier, and the one we're talking about right now is Morrigan, and specifically Dr. Doom and his hidden missiles assist. So what Morrigan does, and to let you guys know the strategy of which this happens, it's not entirely easy to do. Morrigan essentially fills the screen with projectiles, and her super that duplicates herself on the opposite side of the screen. What this happens, and what it means is that when she throws a projectile, the same projectile comes from the opposite angle, kind of like a mirrored image, and will fly at that angle and hit you for a 2-hit combo. Most of the time, because these moves have such huge amount of hits done and do really good damage by themselves and good chip damage, you tend to get locked up in them, and you can actually be bounced from the fireball to fireball to fireball to fireball until you're practically dead. So it's pretty crazy. It's a really effective strategy, and it's not the easiest thing to do, and the reason being is that in order to throw these multiple projectiles from the air to the ground and then back to the air and repeat the process over and over, you need to have a lot of input accuracy. Now, what that means is that you have to fly and unfly repeatedly with Morrigan in order to activate the next fireball. So if you throw the first fireball, you do her flight motion, throw the next fireball, cancel the flight, and then you can go into other stuff. This takes a lot of coordination, especially when you're trying to predict your opponent and if you throw the wrong angled fireball. So what I'm trying to get at is that this strategy with Morrigan and Dr. Doom is not ridiculously easy to do. It seems easy on the surface level, but it's actually a fairly complicated method of attack. And it takes a lot of effort and a lot of practice to get as good as certain players have gotten with her. Most namely, we're talking about Chris G, who's been dominating a lot of the recent fighting games in the tournament scene. Now, this strategy, although is kind of contradictory to what Marvel is. Marvel's a rushdown game. It was a really ridiculous rushdown game in Marvel 3. Same thing for Marvel vs. Capcom 1 and Marvel vs. Capcom 2. Those games ended up being very rushdown-centric, which makes them extremely exciting to watch. And the problem is that if you introduce a very powerful zoning character with a zoning team that goes along with her, you essentially are changing what makes Marvel really good. And it's not the player's fault by any means, it's just a strategy in the game, and if this ends up being one of the more powerful strategies, it could mean that Marvel ends up being something much different a few months, if not years down the line from what it is now, if we don't get any more Versus games until then. So this is where I think things get interesting, because now we have the metagame of Marvel changing, where now the viewing audience is watching Morrigan throw, Soul Fist after Soul Fist after Soul Fist, and Doom's hidden missiles coming out constantly, and players just can't do anything against it. There's some strategies that you can use to work around it, but some of the more powerful characters in the game have a real tough time moving around this offense, notably characters like Wesker and things like that. So it's a counter to that stuff, but you have to be very careful about finding what to counter Morrigan. If you know your opponent is going to use this strategy, you need to find a way to make yourself around it. I'm thinking Virgil might be a good one because he has a tracking teleport, but it's not very fast. However, that doesn't work very well because most of the time Morrigan is in the sky. It's going to take some thought and it's going to take some work as far as the community to counter Morrigan. Now, what I'm curious about is the perception of everybody that's been keeping up with tournaments and has seen Morrigan show up in top 8s and especially top 3s for Ultimate Marvel 3 gameplay. What do you guys think about Morrigan? And this is where the topic of this video comes from, because many people have been saying Morrigan is killing Marvel vs. Capcom 3, which is funny because it kind of, in the perspective of a lot of people that have been watching for Marvel for a long time, it kind of does that. It changes the entire viewing relationship of a person watching a game, and it's so much different. It essentially becomes this footsie-heavy fireball zoning game, which is not Marvel. I mean, everybody knows that Marvel's an insane offensive game. So do you think Morrigan and this higher level tactic of play, using hidden missiles to lock an opponent down as far as Doom as an assist, and using Morrigan on point to fill the screen with soul fists repeatedly as she gains meter and can do it again, do you think that this tactic is essentially going to not as much ruin the game, but ruin the viewer relationship with the game? If you see this like all the time, I'm wondering what a Morrigan on Morrigan counter is going to look like. If you have her fighting herself and there's just soul fists absolutely everywhere, like bullet hell type of game, I'm wondering what that'll be like if we end up seeing her a lot more. But as of right now, her strategy and the combination of that assist and that character seems extremely powerful and extremely dominant. And leave a comment below what you think about how the future of Morrigan affecting Ultimate Marvel 3 is going to have on the overall future of this game. But for the remainder of this episode, let's check out some of these online ranked games, and then check out another user-submitted clip where I'll provide gameplay commentary and that match analysis. So Deadpool just toasted Doom. Looks like I only have Iron Man and Strider left on my team, and with me trying to figure out a little bit of team synergy, this is going to take some effort, and Deadpool has a lot of methods to keeping Iron Man out, since I think his keep away is much better. But as you see, my fireball will actually go through his in some situations, so if I'm able to set it up right, it'll work. Deadpool's on the approach using the top. I push block him out, and I'm using Strider to hopefully set up an OTG situation. And interesting cross-up, but I do not know how that did not work for me following up. He lands a random quick work, and with that, Deadpool kills Iron Man, and now I'm left with Strider, level 3 X Factor, my savior. And I pretty much remained using these couple of characters on this team because I'm learning a new character and I want to have like a backup. And as long as I have that, I can start figuring out some things with synergy. But now Sentinel doesn't have to deal with the brunt force of all of this crazy stuff. Teleport right behind his crouching medium, go behind him, slash him down, and it is a KO. And in this match, I think the moment that won it was there was a portion where Sentinel was in the air flying and Doom was coming down for a foot dive, but he avoided this by X-Factoring and getting out as soon as possible. Now, in some situations, this can be a good thing, saving one character that you think is really important for X-Factor, but in this one here, during this match, I don't think it was, and it was actually one of the reasons I won the game. This next one is going up against a Wesker, looks like Taskmaster and Sentinel. I need to pick up Sentinel, man. That character has such a good assist, and it makes the approach of some situations so much easier, and you can mix up so much more. But what I'm learning with Iron Man is a proper keep-away game, because I think that's a lot of what Iron Man is really good at, is spacing out your opponent. It's frustrating them to get in, and then making odd decisions when they make their approach. But here, Wesker took a combo. I go right into Super. I don't know much about how I can extend the combo, so I just threw some hidden missiles in the middle there. But I don't think Iron Man... Ooh, Strider takes the brunt of that damage, but with a quick dash over and combo in the corner, he actually counters the team aerial, and I don't think this will hit... Wow, it actually does hit Taskmaster. How crazy. However, I was aiming for Sentinel, and it did not hit Sentinel. The blast did not bring him up and across, so that didn't work. Doom lands a quick ground combo. 2 foot dives in the air, bring him up, 2 foot dives, and missed the second one. Damn this game! And he actually X-Factors to save himself with a very little bit of life. So this is he used a level 1 X-Factor, and now he has lost it completely because he did not land any combos. So now I'm at a severe advantage because I have full X-Factor on all my characters, so we'll see how this goes. Unable to take advantage of the hard knockdown from Strider with Doom, Sentinel once again coming out, use Iron Man to pull him in, and Doom kicked him up into the sky but couldn't take advantage of any more damage. And then Wesker eats a foot dive. It's going to happen eventually, and the guy is down. So here we go. Here's that mix-up again. I don't understand the assist as much, but I really like that, how ambiguous you can make it, and then jump up for a foot dive afterwards to put them onto the ground for a full combo. So we're going to see how I'll have to develop a little bit of that synergy. But now Sentinel's the only one left with no X-Factor against Dr. Doom. I'm probably going to play a pretty big keep away this entire time, but land a full combo, and I don't even know what happened there. The interesting actions of playing the game online. He lands a standing medium into launcher and does not get the super jump cancel, and wow, I think I was going into the Sphere Flame super, and all of a sudden I'm grabbed and on the ground. So now Iron Man against the Sentinel, my team of dudes with robots on the attack, and I'm trying to space things out right now because I do not want to get a happy birthday. Like, that's the most important thing to think about right here, is that when you have one character against another, they're looking for that opportunity. He cancels smartly into the super, but with that I still had X-Factor going into level 3 X-Factor or level 2 X-Factor Iron Avenger, and that'll definitely take the game. And similar to the first game before, I think the moment that won this match for me was the preemptive X-Factor on my opponent's part. He had a little bit of health left with Taskmaster, and he was planning to recover a lot of it, but uses X-Factor to save him in one of those precious situations to prevent the character from dying. And I think that's what did it. The X-Factor didn't do anything, he didn't get any damage from it, and it was completely lost. Our clip of the week comes in from Mega Man NG, and he's conveniently using fake-ass Mega Man, aka Frank West, on the front of his team, I believe. And I think that's who he's using. Yeah, I think he's Legacy 2K. Going up against a Chris that looks like Iron Man, and yep, that's what I thought, Nemesis, and he's using what I believe to be Frank West, Dante, and Tron. So, pretty interesting team combinations on both sides, but Frank eats a quick mix-up with Iron Man assist, and wow, Dante gets bopped in the head. Will he choose to X-Factor? Oh, no, he has no super to pick him up, so that's why. Jumps back, and then all of a sudden, the Devil Hunter is dead as hell. So let's see what happens here. If anything, this might be a pretty epic Tron comeback. The giant Kobun head comes flying in, with Tron piloting the entire machine. Nemesis jumping back with his heavy. Tron lands a heavy attack, and Nemesis goes flying with the drill, and this should lead into a pretty powerful combo. It's surprising how much Tron can do with this damage, and I don't know if that was the best method, but it definitely is really good. But Nemesis is just a complete tank, and will eat all of that no matter what. But look at that drill, look how much damage it did, and he's forced to X-Factor, and he actually uses his X-Factor just to save one character and ends up losing it. So this seems to be a theme of this week, is losing your characters, and wow, Evo moment number 149, going in for Tron's level 3 Hyper, and landing it and almost killing Chris completely. Now she's backed off, gets thrown up for an air combo, but Chris misses it, and now looks like Mega Man NG is on the approach, but does not cancel the heavy in time into the drill. The drill is safe, I believe, but Chris does not take advantage of his combo either, ends it with the OTG gunshot, and now they're squaring away. Both teams even, except Tron is now seriously lacking life. But, wow, lands a standing heavy into drill with Chris. Iron Man does not fall for the laser trap at the start, but goes straight into, wow, a super, and the blowback knocks her into it. And now Tron is riding very little health, tosses Iron Man across the screen, jumps in, another drill, hits him in the head, and Iron Man is now taking all of this offense, and Tron has such little life. I'm waiting for him to go into his... Whoa! She landed right in front of the beam. That's some reminiscent stuff from the original Deadpool gif I made back in the first season of The Online Warrior. Now we have a pretty good fight. Now we have something that can lead to one touch for any character. Oh, I can't believe that didn't kill. Oh my gosh, who's going to get it? Is he actually going to be able to pull this one off? At this point, this is good in anyone's favor, and he mashes the crap out of drill and takes it. And yeah, man, like we were saying earlier in this game, I think it was the fact that your opponent used X-Factor to save one character instead of using it for a more X-Factor later on, like a level 2 or 3 more powerful version. I think that would have been a lot better. But as always, if you guys want to send in your clips for The Online Warrior, make a video response and follow the instructions on the screen right now, and I'll provide commentary and break down the analysis of that game-winning moment I think that might have won or lost the game for you. But until then, check out the latest Assist Me featuring Phoenix. The final concluding episode is up now. Thank you guys very much for watching. This has been Maximilian, and I'll see you next time.